Action!
Boom.
Hi, welcome to Fun and Friends. I am Avalon.
I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Jasmine.
And welcome to the channel.
Welcome.
To start off, we are going to be putting the giveaway live on Instagram today. We'll be giving away a copy of the book we are currently reading, which is book 2 of School of Good and Evil. Wow, I forgot.
A World Without Princes.
A World Without Princes. As well as the next book, which is School of Good and Evil, The Last Ever After, which we'll probably be reading next. I would imagine so.
Yes.
As well as some cute little items to go with it. We have a cute little dog ear thing that you put on the corner. It's kind of like a bookmark.
Super
It's a
cute.
dog that curls up and cuddles the corner of your page.
It's so cute.
It's
And
adorable.
then a adorable cup for keeping all of your beverages hot or cold, depending on what you fancy.
Preference.
A nice little sipper to go with your reading.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you need to be following us here on Fun and Friends, as well as Instagram, and comment on the post with which book you like best, and we will pick a winner.
They like and comment on the post.
Yeah, like
So-
and comment, so we know. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, on to our
The
book.
Woo, woo, woo. All right, so on a chapter recap of chapter number 5, we found out that Sandler has died and his sister has taken over at the School of Good, which is now the School of Girls. And all the princesses have decided they do not need princes in their stories anymore.
So they
And
punted
so
him out.
all of the So all of the men are essentially like in a hobo camp, and that is why they are attacking Sophie and trying to kill her, because they're hoping that if they kill Sophie, they will fix the fairy tales and restore everything. So we shall see what happens next.
Yep.
And Agatha has noticed a familiar silhouette in the Tower of Evil, which is now the Tower of Boys.
Boys?
No.
I don't know.
It was like Princess for like Revenge or Retribution or something.
Anyway. And they're forced to go back to school.
Yep, they are now attending classes again.
Chapter 6. Her name is Yara. An army dedicated to producing stories just like yours, said Dean Sadler. Wait. Yes, Dean Sadler, because it's Sadler's sister.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
She's a dean.
I was
of the
like, wait
school.
a
But she
minute.
has the same name because it was her brother who was
Because it was
the...
her brother. Yeah, that got really confusing real fast. Clacking through the sun-washed breezeway, from valor to honor in her blue glass heels. Your tale was just a taste of what princesses and witches can do together. Here you will lead an entire school. A school? Agatha choked, chasing her down the honor stairs. We need to go home. You see, the former deans and I have a difference of opinion, said Dean Sandler, as butterflies flew in from every direction and vanished into her dress. You think you must leave our world to find your happy ending together, and I think you must stay. But the boys are going to kill me, Sophie said, bumping Agatha hard as she passed. Let's just say you do break into a castle full of bloodthirsty males, the dean said, sweeping her buxom behind through the foyer. Let's say you free the Storian against all odds. She stopped outside of the frosted doors of the Gallery of Good. The wish won't work unless you mean it. She gazed at Sophie. How do you wish for Agatha if you know she wants her prince? The dean turned to Agatha. How can you wish for Sophie if you fear the witch inside? She leaned in so close the girls could smell her flawless honey cream skin. How can you wish for someone you do not trust? Sophie and Agatha's eyes met dartingly, hoping the other would not argue. Neither did. Their friendship must be fixed before you can go home. And here you will fix what is broken, Dean Sadler said. At last, a last butterfly fluttering into her dress. Fairy tales have trained us to believe a beautiful bond like yours cannot last. Why? Because a boy must come between you. A boy so threatened by your story that he is willing to kill to destroy it. But at my school, we teach you the truth. She opened the door to pitch darkness. That a girl without a boy is the greatest happy ending of all. Her finger magically lit a torch, and a flame roared red to the burst of drums. Agatha and Sophie leapt back 20 rows of girls stood frozen, heads bowed, each wearing a white veil, royal blue harem pants, and a light blue bodice stitched with a butterfly crest over their heart. There were more than 100 of them, stretching through the...
They sound like Princess Jasmine as an army.
It does. I was also thinking, because I in China, we went to the tomb that had all of the soldiers in it, and because it kind of sounds like they're just, like, standing there. And, like, it kind of reminds me of that. Like, they're just kind of frozen, standing there, like, as an army. There was more than 100 of them, stretching through the exhibits of the museum, past the open rear doors, and into the vast ballroom of Good Hall. Faces obscured as they stood eerily still, arms raised, with hands in opposite elbows as if summoning genies, hovering above them. Just beneath the ceiling, 2 more veiled girls on magic carpets. You were right.
Oh my gosh, I called it.
Beat snare drums faster and faster. At the front of this parade was a lone girl without anyone else in her row. Her veil was blue instead of white, her hair ginger red, and her pallid skin on her thin arms dotted with strawberry freckles. Slowly she raised her arms. The drums stopped. But, I mean, you're not wrong. She did need a boy to rescue her.
True.
With an untamed speech, the girl blew a blast of fire that singed the magic carpets and sent Agatha and Sophie quailing from the flames. As the drums beat once more, the girl whipped into a whirling belly dance, punctuating each move with a wild whistle or trill. Merida belly dancing? I don't
It
think
reminds me more of like when Princess Jasmine is captured by Jafar and she's the red dress.
One look at her, and Tedros will forget all about his wishmaker, said Sophie coldly. Sophie, I'm sorry. Agatha shifted closer to her friend. I really am. Sophie shifted away. I'd never lose you for a boy, Agatha prodded, but eyeing the dancing girl, she suddenly felt a twinge of jealousy. Had Tedros seen her? She crushed the thought. Tedros wanted to kill her best friend, and she was still thinking of him? He's the enemy, you idiot. Stefan's face haunted her, begging her to return. Sophie, home safe. Where was the Agatha who'd do anything to protect her best friend? The one who had control over her feelings, the one who was good. By now, the rows beyond started to echo the leader's dance, flowing with a crisp hand movements. Then, with a sudden flourish, the girls all turned to each other and danced in pairs. Hands brushed and clasped as they touched backs before lifting arms and switching places, never losing the touch of their palms. In the glinting blue harem pants and white veils, they looked like swaying sea anemones. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Despite the storm in her heart, Sophie managed to smile. She had never seen anything so beautiful. Then again, she'd never seen girls dance without boys. Agatha didn't like Sophie's expression. Sophie, I need to talk to Tedros. No. I said I'm sorry. You have to let me fix it. No. The fool thinks I want you killed, Agatha said, smacking away a blue butterfly on her shoulder. I'm the only one who can make him see reason. A prince who thinks he's schoolmaster bet half his fortune on my head, and you think he'll see reason? Sophie said, letting a butterfly perch on her. I'm surprised good ever wins if it's this naive. Agatha glanced at the dean's back to them. She couldn't possibly eavesdrop with the drums pounding and dancing, girls hooting like a hyena, but Agatha had the strange feeling she could hear everything.
Yeah.
They're butterfly spies.
They whisper.
They listen.
Well, they all came to her dress in the office, so...
Mm-hmm.
First places, she got ears everywhere, and there was butterflies in the room when the other teachers were talking to her before that person conveniently stormed in and said, I'm taking them to class.
Yeah,
maybe.
It is the butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this one with you.
Butterfly spies.
Yes.
Spying butterflies. Sophie, I lost myself for a moment, she whispered. It was a mistake. Sophie watched the lead girl spew another jet of fire. Maybe the dean is right, she said, not whispering at all. Maybe I should stay here. What? We don't even know where she came from, let alone how she's dean. You saw the look on Professor Dovey's face. You can't trust her. Right now I trust her more than I trust you. Agatha could have sworn she saw the dean grin.
It is the butterflies.
You're not safe here, Sophie. Tedros will come for you. Let him. That's what you want, isn't it? I want you home alive, Agatha begged. I want us to forget about ever coming to the school good and evil. I don't want Tedros. Sophie whirled, snarling. Then why did you wish for him? Agatha froze. Let the gifts begin, the dean decreed. Gifts? Sophie spun from Agatha, beaming. At last, some good news!
I do not trust that dean at all.
No.
She sounds like she is
Manipulative.
purposely wrapping Sophie up in dreamland.
Yeah.
She sidled up to the dean as the veiled girls fanned to the walls like a clamshell opening, leaving a wide aisle down the middle. Agatha followed warily, remembering that this world had once done to her and her best friend. The longer they stayed here, the longer they were in danger. She had to get Sophie home now. Moving into the sunlight of the small window, she noticed that the museum exhibits had changed. Evidence of boys' achievements had been stripped and replaced with relics from her and Sophie's fairy tale. Agatha's Evergirl uniform, Sophie's lunchtime lectures sign, Agatha's note to Sophie during the trial by tale, the slashed lock of hair from Sophie's doom room punishment, and dozens of others, each enshrined in a blue-tinted glass case. On the main wall, the Ever After mural, which was once celebrated the marriage of Prince and Princess, was now covered in navy canvas embroidered with butterflies. Indeed, the only holdover was Professor Sadler's old nook of paintings off in the far corner. As a seer who could glimpse the future, the former history teacher had once drawn paintings of every reader who had come from Galveston to the school, from good and evil. Whenever Agatha needed answers, she would drift back to these paintings, finding new clues. All she wanted was to study them again now, but there were two veiled girls marching towards her down the aisle, carrying an enormous purple vase. From Maid in Veil, said Dean Sadler. Honey's voice now was deep and commanding. An urn from Princess Rosilda, who, like hundreds of others, heard your story and realized she could be happier without her prince. She had his throne burned and offers the ashes to you.
Nice. What I've always wanted.
Did she off her prince, or is he in the hobo camp?
I'm
I think
assuming
the
he's in the
throne.
hobo camp.
Yeah.
I think it was just the throne. She
It's
was
a
like,
symbolism.
yeah, like we don't
A big
need
FU.
him.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that they have Sophie's lock of hair because it was an important moment. And if you think about it, if anyone reads the story, they would know that she killed that wolf. But that seems to be something that's actually more kept secret. So, I mean, maybe she's only currently keeping it secret from Agatha?
But I mean, the whole story was written down and everyone read it, so they must know that she killed the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if Agatha never read it, because it was their story.
And, well, I'm assuming she didn't. The girls held up the urn to Sophie and Agatha, who peered at its carvings of a prince magically ejected from a castle window to crocodiles below. So apparently she
did. She did off him.
All right.
This is sounding a lot like Chicago here.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had it coming.
Apparently he
had
did.
himself to blame.
We don't want
If
it.
you've never watched that, just
You
go
should.
YouTube the Cell Block Tango. You'll
It's
get
a
all
good-
you need to know about the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really cool.
We don't want it, Agatha crabbed. Shall we put it in my room? Sophie smiled, turning to the dean. Room? Agatha blurted, Sophie, you're not staying. But now two girls were marching down the aisle with oriental bamboo drapes. From Pippath Hills, the dean boomed, a hand-painted tree curtain from Princess Siri, who read your tale and realized that without princes, princesses and witches are happier. Its exquisitely painted bamboo reeds depicted a princess and a witch embracing in one panel, while in the other, a prince who looked a lot like Tedros was flogged to a pulp by a beast. This is horrible, Agatha snapped. Hang them by my bed, Sophie chimed to the two veiled girls. What's next? The dean pointed a gold-lacquered nail down the aisle. From the Netherwood, a tapestry of the homeless princes. I wish Professor Dovey and Lady Lesso would appreciate someone as chic as you, Sophie fawned to the dean, as the possession of the prince-abusing gifts continued, including prince voodoo dolls, looted prince swords, and a
Voodoo
carpet
dolls?
made of prince hair. Do classes start today?
What was the second one?
looted prince swords, so
Okay.
stolen swords, and a carpet made out of prince hair.
Okay.
I just want to rub my feet through Prince's hair.
Oh, okay, don't say that.
Gross.
Shall we put it by my bed? How about as a shower mat? We can smell it every time we get out of the shower.
Ew.
Nasty.
Ew.
The dean grinned as she glided away, including mine. You're not serious, Agatha hissed to Sophie. Now you want to go to class? Let's hope they renovated those rooms made of candy. Sophie's hand combed through her hair, readying for the day. I'm allergic to that smell. Sophie, there's a bounty on your head. And lastly, a gift from me, declared Dean Sandler, standing in front of the coveted Ever After mural. Students, your old school taught you balance was about vanquishing good or evil, but how can there be a balance between evers and nevers until there's a balance between boys and girls? It's no mistake our readers have returned to join our school, for this fairy tale remains unfinished. She looked right at the two girls, and the battle for its ending just begun. She let the canvas fall. Agatha and Sophie drew breaths. The words "Ever After," giant and glimmering, still peeked from painted clouds at the top of the mural in gold block letters. Everything else had been redone. Now the scene depicted two sprawling blue glass candles around a lake. A girl in azure uniforms gathered on tower balconies, basked in the lakeshore, and strolled the gated grounds. Some of the girls were beautiful, some were ugly, but they lived, and idled together without division, as if witches and princesses were always meant to be friends. There were boys in the paintings, too, if one could call them that, with black peasant rags and ogreishly distorted faces. They scooped manure, raked a blue forest beyond the castle, and built up the towers in miserable chain gangs before retreating to filthy prison slums at the fringes of the gates. Female overseers drove them like chattel, and the boys put up no fight. Slaves, resigned to eternal servitude. Agatha's eyes rose up to the top of the painting. There, haloed in the sun, two women with crystal diadems surveyed their kingdoms from the highest balcony. It's us, Sophie gasped. It's the school, scowled Agatha. Your true ever after, the dean said, stepping between them. Captains of the hollowed halls, leading girls to a princeless future. Agatha grimaced at the vision of the ever boys and never boys, hated and enslaved. This school isn't our ending, she said, turning to Sophie. Tell her we have to leave. But Sophie was gazing at the painting, eyes wide. How do we make it come true? Agatha stiffened. How all heroes win their happy endings, dear, the dean said, touching both their shoulders, by facing the enemy. She grinned out the window at Tedros' tower and slaying them. Agatha and Sophie locked eyes in surprise. My cherished students, the dean swept her hand over the crowd. Welcome our readers back to the school. With a roar, the mob tore off their veils and rushed the two girls. You're home, gushed Raina, embracing Agatha with freckly Millicent, while green-skinned Mona and one-eyed Arachne smooshed Sophie into a hug. Didn't know we were friends, Sophie croaked, suffocated. We're on your side against Tedros, Arachne cheered, Millicent on her arm as if evers and nevers were suddenly bosom buddies. All of us. You are our heroes, Raina said to Agatha, who noticed the Arabian princess looked a bit bigger in the bottom. You and Sophie taught us the truth about boys. Agatha fumbled for words before a shrieking blur bear-hugged her and Sophie. My roommates! Beatrix yelped. Aren't you excited? The dean put you with me!
Totally excited.
Yeah, because she
energy.
totally loved her before.
Totally.
It was she best friends before. Neither Sophie nor Agatha had time to process this cataclysm, which they were goggling at, something more alarming. Your hair, Sophie cried. No boys means no need to look like stupid princesses, Beatrix said, rubbing her shaved head proudly. Think about how much time I wasted last year on Tedros and balls and beautifying all day. And for what? Now I read, I study, and I learn to speak elf. I finally know what's going on in our world.
I would like to speak elf.
But she decided to shave her head bald and not care about her looks anymore.
That's fine. Shave it.
You go, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Rock that bald do.
Yes.
I mean, you could always just put a wig on every day. I think that might be easier.
There's people who look beautiful without hair. So.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the chick from Black Panther, who's like the leader.
Oh yeah.
She
the
looks
tribe,
looks really pretty, and she has no hair.
Yes.
But what about beautification? Sophie fretted. That's long gone. There is no beauty or ugliness at the school for girls, said Raina, who Sophie saw with horror wasn't wearing a shred of makeup. We wear pants, we don't do our nails, we even eat cheese. Sophie gagged and looked at the dean, but butterflies were trailing her out of the gallery. But surely some lipstick is allowed. You can do whatever you want, Arachne said, showing off a smatter of hideous blush on both cheeks. Nevers can groom, evers don't have to. It's all your choice. Millicent leaned in with a grin. I haven't washed my hair for a month. She's growing some dreads. Sophie and Agatha both recoiled, only for the latter to be tackled by a yelping heap. Hey! You're here, my best friend in the whole world! Kiko gave Sophie a phony smile. And you too. Then Kiko hugged Agatha again, her brown almond eyes tearing up. You don't know how much I prayed for you to come back. It's like heaven here. Wait until you take history. The dean teaches it, and we go over into all the stories. And there's dance lessons, and a school newspaper, and a book club, and we put on a play instead of a ball, and we can sleep in each other's rooms. And Kiko didn't finish because there were flocks of girls besieging Sophie and Agatha now, each girl acting as if she were their best friend too. Agatha tried to fend off the horde and lunged to Sophie across the masses. We have to get out of here right now. She tripped and landed face first. Will you sign my storybook? Giselle asked, black hair sheared into a blue mohawk. Agatha crawled back like a crab into more clamoring fans.
A blue mohawk?
A blue mohawk.
Mohawk. Yes.
I'm trying to think of Giselle from that the live action movie.
Yeah.
Like
Enchanted.
Yeah.
With that lovely pink dress.
It's so random.
Very random, but funny.
As girls thrust books, cards, body parts for Sophie to sign, Beatrix forced the girls into a receiving line and let them pay tribute one by one. Sophie could hardly tell who was good from who was evil anymore, since more of the Evergirls had hacked their hair and let their figures go, while a large number of Nevergirls were experimenting with makeup and diets. Meanwhile, Agatha finally extricated herself from her gaggle. But just as she grabbed Sophie's arm to end the idiocy, she froze still. A dancing girl shuffled towards them in her sky blue veil. Gangly as an egret, she didn't so much walk as tiptoe. The heels of her white slippers never touched the ground. She pattered down the aisle past gaping girls until she stopped sharply in front of the two readers. The girl raised her head of flowing red hair and lifted the veil from her face. Sophie and Agatha were both very confused. She didn't look like any girl they'd ever seen, and yet she seemed familiar. She had a long, pointy nose, a strong jaw, and close blue eyes. Her neck was strangely long, and her cropped blouse revealed perfect stomach muscles that rippled beneath her pale, freckled skin. The girl smiled etherically. Sorry, I'm having a moment. Looked into her eyes and unleashed a low squawk that made Sophie and Agatha jump. Then she blew them a kiss, replaced her veil, and shuffled down the hall. I'm wondering if that's Hort. If Hort decided to be trans.
Because it's skinny.
Yeah.
Possibly.
And, like, muscled.
Okay.
What do you guys think? I don't know.
Or it just about her
Before was a
abs.
guy. And all guys are...
Unless she was trans and the school, like, was like, okay, you're okay, you can stay.
Ooh.
Who knows?
I
We
guess
will
we'll
find
find out.
All the girls watched her in dumb silence until the mob started pushing towards Sophie and Agatha again, and Beatrix blew her whistle. Then again, Hort was like super into Sophie, so I don't know. Okay, anyway. What was that? Agatha said to Kiko as she crankily signed an autograph. Her name is Yara, Kiko whispered. No one knows how she got in. Doesn't speak, doesn't eat, far as we can tell, and disappears all the time. Probably has nowhere to live, poor thing. But the dean lets her stay out of the goodness of her heart. Some people think she's half stiff. What?
I wonder if it's actually someone we might think is dead or gone, but really they're cursed right now.
Ooh.
Because why else would the dean let them stay, and why do they keep disappearing and stuff? It's a way to keep them under close eye.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Good call.
Agatha frowned, thinking of the bony carnivorous birds that hated nevers. How can someone be half stiff? She lost her train of thought because Sophie had called the girls all to herself, smiling imperiously, signing autographs and kissing cheeks, as if she finally found her way home. Can I help you fight the boys? Arachne hollered. Can I be your vice captain? Yelled Giselle. Can I be your vice captain? Echoed Flavia. Sit with my lunch group, Millicent called. No, sit with us, Mona countered. How glorious it is to have fans again, Sophie said, ignoring Agatha's horrified look and dotting an autograph with hearts. Here I am, trying to get home where nobody wants me, and instead stumble upon paradise where everyone does. If you're miserable, Beatrix, don't worry, Kiko said, noticing Agatha's glum face. You can always stay with me. Agatha turned to her, and Kiko suddenly understood. You aren't staying, are you? Kiko rasped. The crowd went silent around her. Now tell me about the school play, Sophie said loudly to Raina. Have you cast the lead part? She stopped, for all the students had followed Agatha's gaze out the window. Across the bay, fog brewed thicker around the grisly red castle. If we stay, we're starting a war, Agatha said to the girls. All of you would be in danger. She turned to Sophie. You heard the professors. We can fix what I've done without anyone dying. Not you, not Tedros, not anyone here. We wish for each other, and we can forget the school ever happened. She touched her friend's shoulder. It's evil if we stay, Sophie, and you're not evil. Sophie slowly gazed up at the sea of blameless girls who had no doubt died at the hands of Tedros and his red hoods. Only Agatha had forgotten the dean's warning. They could go home as long as both of them meant their wish, but Sophie knew Agatha couldn't mean a wish for her friend. Agatha couldn't forget this school. Because her friend wasn't enough for Agatha anymore. Agatha wanted a prince. We'll hide in the blue forest and come up with a plan, Agatha said, to her quietly anxious to escape before the dean returned. Maybe we can morgify into the boys' school. Crestfallen, Sophie said nothing, until she met her own eyes in the painting on the wall. Atop the castle, in her crystal gown, she looked just like someone she knew, with the same gold-spun blonde hair, emerald eyes, and ivory skin. Someone who, too, had lost her happy ending to a boy. Someone who had died all alone because of it. You're too beautiful for this world, Sophie. It was the last thing her mother had said. She wanted me to find it, Sophie thought. This world where she wouldn't end up like her mother. A world where she and Agatha could be happy forever. A world where a boy could never come between them. A world without princes. And now one prince stood in her way. Sophie gritted, tears glistening. A prince that Agatha would surely forget once he was dead. It isn't evil, Aggie, Sophie vowed. This school is our only hope. Agatha tightened. Sophie, what are you? He says he wants me, Sophie bellowed to her waiting army. She bared teeth at Tedros' castle. Then let him come for me. The girls let out a ruckus cheer and mobbed their new leader. Death to Tedros! Death to boys! Agatha drained of color as Sophie met her eyes and vanished into the swarm. One wish, and she set a war in motion, a war between two sides fighting for her heart, a war between two people she loved, a war between her best friend and a prince. Agatha's soul scorched with guilt, a promise to a father gone up in flames. I need help, she prayed, watching Sophie blow kisses to her soldiers. Someone who could see through all of this. Someone to tell her who was good this time and who was evil. As she retreated from the horde, she noticed an odd glint from the corner, hovering near the floor in Sadler's dark nook of paintings. Slowly, 2 tiny yellow eyes floated towards her like suspended marbles. 2 more suddenly glowed next to them, then 2 more, as hunched shadows pattered from behind the marble column. The 3 black rats glowered at Agatha as if she said the magic words. Then they skittered through the back doors to lead her to their master.
Ooh.
All right. Things are happening. Chaos.
Yes.
Chaos all around.
Sophie's loving it.
All the fake friendliness, though, is kind of like
Yeah.
Especially from the characters that we know did not like them
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
It's not like their minds got erased.
It's just that they want to be popular, so we're playing fake,
Yeah.
which is annoying. And it's funny because Sophie can't see through that. And I was like, you do realize, like, half these people would have killed you, like, a year ago, right?
Yeah.
So.
She's just.
So, do you guys think there are butterfly spies? And who do we think that tall, lanky fire dancer with red hair is?
Yara.
We'll have to find out.
Let us know what you think.
Don't forget to like and comment on the Instagram post.
Under Fun and Friends.
And you have to be following us on Instagram and here too. So make sure you do that.
That way you can get this lovely mug and all these cute things.
And these books.
Yay! All right, guys.
We'll see you
Until
next
then.
time.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.